Yo, what's up? It's your boy Kavan. So, this is answering a question on how to gain core strength within 30 days with having little to no core strength to begin with. Now, I did a whole video for this, an hour-long video showing by example, but it didn't upload onto Instagram. So, we're going to try this a different way. Let's give it a shot. All right? So, my short answer is, well, how much do you care to do it? And I intentionally point to the heart center with that, your heart, because that is the center of our being. I'd like to take you through yogic tradition of seven chakras, okay? Now, in that tradition, we have seven energy centers. In the body. All right. In the middle of those energy centers would once again be our heart center. Okay. And above that, you have three energy centers, and those are our higher faculties. And then below that, you have three energy centers, which would be our lower faculties, the ones of our physical manifestation. So when we talk about core strength, we're talking about physical actuality. Therefore, we're gonna go to the lower three, all right? Which includes our solar plexus, our sacrum, and our root chakra. Right. So, our root chakra, base of our spine. I like to start off with saying that our core connects our whole body, all of our limbs. So our head, our arms, and our legs, all connected with these first three circles. Our root chakra is where we get our stability. That is what tethers us to the earth. That's what grounds us, okay? And consequently, it gives us our mortality, because it's our awareness of our life force and the finite aspects of being a physical incarnation. So it's the closest to discomfort, destruction, and death, because these are all things that an animated matter goes through to go back into inanimate matter. Now our sacrum, right above that, where all our sexual organs are, all that good stuff, that is where we get our will to live, okay? So with our sacrum, we have everything that is life preservation, all right? So the pleasures and pains. We avoid certain pains to survive, and we pursue certain pleasures thus procreation, to multiply life. These are a lot of animalistic instincts, just to have a basic life as a being. Then above that, you have the solar plexus, which is our power center. Okay. This stores your potentiality, what you're capable of, even if you're not fulfilling it. This is kind of like your inner sun, and it's connected to a lot of the higher faculties, through the breath, your parasympathetic nervous system. Say it with me, parasympathetic nervous system. When you take deep breaths through your diaphragm, it activates that. And the parasympathetic nervous system is involuntary movements, whereas your autonomic is you controlling your limbs. That's your fight or flight. That's going back to your sacrum, which is necessary. But as a human being, we don't have to follow our instinct. We don't have to just survive and just strive for self-preservation, life preservation. We can strive for other things. We can set goals, okay? So in order to do that, you have to get past this sacrum. You have to activate will instead of urges. And you have to rise up through your fight or flight. In order to do that, you have to activate your parasympathetic nervous system, okay? That is your unconscious being. That is connected to the universe. That's a connection to your higher faculties that are going into your brain, starting with the throat chakra, which we can call intuition, inner voice, followed by the third eye, and we can call that insight, logic. Sometimes we can reason ourselves out of doing something, but also we can use those higher faculties to remind ourselves that we're not actually in a dangerous situation. When you're when you're uncomfortable, it makes you think that you're in some kind of danger, threat of death. But once you calm yourself down through that greater breathing, you activate your brain and you can ask yourself, am I truly in any danger? Is my life in danger? Is my well-being in danger? No? Well, then this is a controlled environment in which I can grow. This uncomfortability is growing pains. And that's a reason to go past the sacrum, past the pleasures. You can discipline yourself to hold off on certain pleasures, and you can actually go through certain pains to achieve power, to achieve what you're actually trying to accomplish. But when it comes to core strength, the biggest aspect I would say is the willpower, okay? That's your strength, all right? That's not necessarily what you get. That's what you become on the process of trying to obtain what you get, all right? If there's a certain person that you look up to, you would potentially emulate how that person lives in order to accomplish what that person has accomplished, because it is the person and all their qualities that accomplish that. The goal itself, that's just an external realization of who that person is. So with the willpower, with your strength, that takes repetition. It's not about getting a certain amount of sit-ups, a certain amount of core exercises. It's about living it. It's about doing it and doing it and doing it. And you're going to be uncomfortable. You're going to experience fight or flight. But what I'm going to say is it's so important to get past that, because that's only the first two levels of your energy centers. When you get past fight or flight, you unravel who you actually are. You get to see a whole different world. Fight or flight, the pleasures below fight or flight, that's just the familiar world. That's everything that you know. When you start to fear and doubt yourself, that's just because you're in unfamiliar territory. But there's a whole world, literally a whole universe beyond that wall that you're putting on what you're capable of. And you deserve to know what you're capable of. You deserve to know who you actually are. So the short answer as far as how to develop core strength within 30 days is to be uncomfortable, to push through your fight or flight, and then find that comfortability with your, say it with me, parasympathetic nervous system. Use your breath work to get through the exercises. Try to trigger a state of awareness of, hey, I'm okay. Hey, this is only a finite circumstance. This is only short-term pain for a long-term pleasure, for a long-term goal being successful. Anyways, what I would recommend is some people put out certain regimens, and that's cool, but that's only going to keep you where you're comfortable if it's not your bread and butter, if you're not used to working out, if you're not used to pushing yourself in that way. What I would say is just do it as much as you can. Whatever workout, if you do the same one over and over again, great. If you do a bunch of different ones to keep yourself guessing, great. But when you get to that point where you feel your body start to panic and everything, remember this moment. Remember my words. Remember what I said as far as deep breaths through the diaphragm. Activate your power, your potentiality, because those difficulties is just you becoming. It's the becoming of what you're trying to be. Okay, it's just the process. When you take those deep breaths, when you calm yourself down in a stressful situation, and working out is inducing stress to your body. Good stress though. When you relax yourself in those moments, you're connecting to something greater than yourself. And the feeling when you recognize that and when you see your results, it's something that you come back to time and time again. You might ask yourself, like, how do people go out to the gym and do this all the time? Well, because it's a different type of pleasure. It's not a short-term one. It's one of your higher faculties. It's you becoming something that you almost were meant to be. So there are times when you may get injured, or you're potentially putting yourself in an injury-prone situation, maybe not doing the exercise right, or you might be overdoing it. But when you activate your unconscious self, when you regulate your breath, you give yourself a chance to tap into your intuition, and you can feel if it's worth continuing, if you can feel if you should stop. You know, it's more than just you rationalizing the situation, because over-rationalizing would be the surest way for you not to do something. Trust me, a lot of the stuff that I do is pretty intense because I don't think about it too much. I just start. This whole presentation, I just start. So what I would tell you again is just go for it. And like I said, I did a video of me doing sit-ups for an hour long, just to give an example of how I regulate myself in fight or flight, hearing my voice while I breathe. The vibrations help calm me down. It's therapeutic. But again, diaphragm breathing is the surest way to tap into your latent potential and find your second wind, reservoirs of energy you didn't know you had because you've never taken it that far. You're very capable. I believe in you. And just give it your best shot, because in the process of trying, you become something new. Peace out.